Hello, Booktube. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Word Oddities. If you guys have been with the channel long enough, you know that we do these Word Oddities. The Word Oddities are just words that I may stumble across while I'm reading that I may stop to try and identify, get a better understanding for the word. Now, if I stop and look up a word, it counts as a Word Oddity. And I do this show because I just want to share my reading experiences with those. So today we are going to cover the Word Oddities for Frictional Characters written by Elizabeth Spann Craig. And here are our words for today. So I'm going to share each of these words in the order as they were encountered in my reading process. So we have Disparate, we have Teetotaler, and we have Garrulous for today. So let's start with the first one. And as always, I'll give you the sentence that I encountered the word. I will give you a definition, and then I will describe the reference as it pertains to the story. Okay. And with that, I basically want to judge whether or not the word was used correctly or if it was, I don't know, necessary to use that word. Sometimes the author has a tendency to really do a really good job with word choice, and it goes along and adds to the story. And then there are times where words are used incorrectly, and there are times where there could have been a better choice. So let's see what we've got today. The first word on our list is disparate. And the sentence that it was encountered in is, I didn't really seem to have the motivation to plan a meal from all of the disparate parts of foods I'd purchased, nor to cook it. Now, the definition for disparate as an adjective, it basically means essentially different in kind, not allowing any comparison. And as a noun, these are things that are so unlike that there is no basis for comparison. Now, in this particular story, remember our main character, Anne Beckett, she is a librarian, and she had just recently returned home from dropping off Zelda, which is one of the characters in the story. She's actually the chairperson of the HOA, and so she just recently dropped her off home. She was worn out from a very long day and had an even longer conversation on the way home because even though, Zelda is one of the characters, she's very talkative when you get her alone. So by the time she got home, she didn't want to cook. And fortunately, her boyfriend, Grayson, had arrived unexpectedly with takeout food. So that word was used rather well. And this story, I don't think any of these were actually out of place. And they were also well chosen because they fit in the story. And there wasn't so much of an elaboration that I'm not familiar with the word. So that one worked out, right? So the second one is teetotaler. Teetotaler. And the sentence was, Wilson flushed a little and stared down at his carefully clipped nails. I'm afraid he did. You see, I was a different person years ago. You know that I'm a teetotaler now. So the definition is, as a noun, is a person who never drinks alcohol. I never knew that. So that's a new one for me, right? A teetotaler is someone who never drinks alcohol. But the reference in that was Anne and others had just found out that Wilson, Mr. Wilson, her boss, the library director, was being blackmailed by Jonas Merchant. This is the main antagonist of the story. Now, story opens up with, this is a spoiler. The story opens up with him dead, right? He's the victim, but he's also the antagonist. So he was blackmailing the whole town, and Mr. Wilson was the one that found the body. If you do the look at the book review, you'll see that it's the first thing that's on the story. So not much of a spoiler, but and they're surprised. What you're Mr. Goody Two Shoes. So why how could he possibly have anything on you worth blackmailing you over? And he had a very, 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 very active lifestyle prior to becoming a library director. So he was basically telling them that, I'm afraid he did have a lot of stuff on me. You see, I was a different person years ago. You know that I'm a teetotaler now, but back then, yeah. So it was well placed, but it did stump me. So we'll move on to the next one. The next one, our third word for our oddities today is garrulous. Garrulous. Our sentence: Mr. Merchant was simply a garrulous old soul who liked to keep his finger on the pulse of the town and spread gossip. The definition as an adjective is excessively talkative, especially on trivial matters. So Mr. Merchant was simply excessively talkative, especially on trivial matters. And he liked to keep his finger on the pulse of the town and spread gossip. So basically, Mr. Merchant, actually, in this particular one, is the antagonist's father. Now, he's not actually in the story. He had passed away prior to the story even starting. And Jonas had inherited his property and moved in and took over the town with the information that he had received from his father. Father's a bit of a drunkard, town busybody, in everybody's business. Yeah, big ear of the town, and he didn't do anything with it. He just happened to be in the right place in the right time to get the information, but he passed most of that information on to his son, and his son used it to blackmail. So the reference on that was characters Luna and Mona were discussing how Jonas Merchant had come into the possession of such incriminating information from further back into the town's history, so far back into the history, information that he was now using to blackmail Wilson, who was otherwise known as such a stand-up guy. Mr. Merchant, Jonas's father, was being described as a garrulous old soul. So it was 3 good words used properly. Now they are added to my vocabulary. They're added to your vocabulary. I want to thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope you come back later for the next one. And until then, you guys keep reading.